The Norwegian knew he was in trouble when the front right wheel shot into the distance. Midway through the stage, Schwartz's heart leapt into his mouth as out of sight he almost had a collision with another vehicle. Back with Solberg, it was clear that the damage was too bad to continue. Joining Solberg, his spotter, Richard Burns.
And I didn't hit anything.
The final two stages of the rally, and still running at speed, the four-time champion Mäkinen was still taking risks. For Rovanperä, second place would be more than he could have dreamed of at the start, but a puncture forced the Finn to slow right down. Catching Rovanperä fast was François Delacour. In the closing kilometres, he ran into the thick dust thrown up by the Peugeot. Delacour thought Rovanperä should have pulled over. And pretending to be Gilles Panizzi, who thumped another driver after he got caught in dust last year, Delacour jumped out and throwed Rovanperä a playful punch. After his Skoda's power steering failed, Bruno Thierry was in a state of collapse, helped from the car by his doctor, his body screaming for mercy. Off the sick bed and into the stage, Thierry was clearly not as alert as normal. Twice, Stéphane Prévost warned him of danger ahead. At over 100 kilometers an hour, Thierry buried the nose into a hole big enough to lose a car. But worse, Prévost was hurt and the car was on fire. But some good news for Skoda, Schwarz finishing third for their best ever result. Behind Delacour, Loix took fifth. The final few metres and Mäkinen crosses the line, winner of the 49th Safari Rally.
It was a good rally for us, no bigger problems whatsoever. And so finally, Michelin made incredible work. We had no tire problems at all, and car was working well.
Just 15 finishers from 41 starters. So first home Mäkinen, behind Rovanperä, that best ever result for Skoda. Mäkinen's win puts him 10 points clear of McRae, and Rovanperä edges ahead of Burns. In the manufacturers, first and fifth for Mitsubishi put them in front of Ford, and Skoda increased their gap to Hyundai. Finland, the spiritual home of rallying and the location for round 9. Rallying's in the blood here. These fast forest roads have produced more world champions than any other country. This is the land of maximum attack. Once known as the Thousand Lakes Rally, the route weaves through Finland's Lake District around Jyväskylä. Tommy Mäkinen lives a few kilometers across the lake, but local knowledge didn't help on stage 1. Less than 2 minutes into the rally, car number 7 was out. The suspension broken on the Mitsubishi. Next into the stage, Colin McRae, and not even McRae believed that the 5-time winner would make such an elementary mistake so early on in his home rally.
6 left opens, and 6 left, and crest into left tightens to 3+, don't cut.
With Mäkinen out, all local eyes were on another Finn to take the lead. That honour went to Harry Rovanperä in the Peugeot. With one less Finn to worry about, Richard Burns knew that this could be his best chance to become the first non-Scandinavian in almost a decade to win in Finland. Marcus Grönholm edged ahead of Rovanperä by 3 seconds in a return to the form worthy of a world champion. 4-time world champion Juha Kankkunen was back in world rallying behind the wheel of a Hyundai. Leaping high, Marco Martin was up to 4th overall. Almost a week without a good night's sleep, Richard Burns dug deep into his natural talent to become the fastest foreigner in Finland. Grönholm had said all afternoon that ideally he didn't want to be leading at the end of the first day, so deliberately or not, he lost first place.
You rather conveniently lost a bit of time yesterday.
I don't think it will help so much, but small maybe advantage to go after Richard, yes.
Was that tactics or genuine problems?
It was both. I had really a puncture, but also I was slowing down a bit.
Nice to have the feeling that he needs to do that to try to beat me, which is it's good when it's his home rally.
Day 2 and the leader, Richard Burns, was at 2 disadvantages. Many of the day's stages were new to him, and he was also running first on the road. But at the split times, he was looking good. Marcus Grönholm wanted dry, not dewy conditions for his planned assault on the lead. Weaving between the houses, his Peugeot was more cruise missile than rally car.
8 oikein eri jouheen. 7 vaan se pitkä eri kirraa lopussa.
For years, Estonia was seen as the enemy in Finland. In rallying, they still are, but whilst Marco Martin was 3rd, his army were friendly. It wasn't all good news at Peugeot. On stage 13, Didier Auriol's suspension broke, with dramatic results. On stage 14, Jani Passanen crunched the front of his Focus. Big time. With Auriol gone, McRae was up to 5th, but 2nd place on stage 13 and a win on stage 14 showed that McRae didn't just want places by default. The Scot too was now flying. More convertible than rally car, Passanen's Focus. With the sun now out, Burns' worry was not keeping up with Grönholm, but fighting off Rovanperä. Next through, the leader, Marcus Grönholm. Ski jumping is Finland's other passion, not that there's much to tell between the sports sometimes. Winning stage 16 moved Harry Rovanperä ahead of Richard Burns and back into 2nd place. Kankkunen eventually stopped with transmission problems at the end of day 2 after an impressive return to world rallying. Day 3, and at the early morning service, Peugeot announced that their drivers would hold station. Rovanperä started the longest stage of the rally like a tightrope walker. He had to toe the fine line between not threatening Grönholm and not being threatened by Burns. But 5 kilometers into the stage, fate was taken out of his hands. He had a puncture in his front left tire, and it cost him dearly. Behind, Richard Burns had no idea. He pressed on regardless to the fastest time by a full 5 seconds, enough to put him just 6 seconds off Rovanperä. But all eyes were now on McRae. Could he keep close enough to Burns to keep his hopes of 3rd and maybe even 2nd place alive?
Left. 30. 5 left plus open to the crest. 30. 6 right and 6 left over bump.
Marcus Grönholm needed to pick up the pace to protect his lead. With Rovanperä under attack, Grönholm could no longer count on protection. Rovanperä too was at maximum attack now, but then he lost 21 seconds in 25 kilometers with a broken shock absorber. Burns was fast too, but he'd hit a rock at the start of the second to last stage, but second place was now his. Closing back to within 7 seconds of Burns at the finish was McRae. On the last stage of the rally, Tony Gardemeister was trying to make up some of the time he lost on days 1 and 2, when this happened. A violent and messy end to his rally, but thankfully no injuries. Grönholm's line through the last stage was conservative, not flamboyant. The trick to just keep the car clear of rocks and the trees. The reward, his first victory in 10 months and as world champion.
Was it a tough rally to win?
Yeah, it was not so easy, but okay, we had always a small gap, but Harry was catching us yesterday a bit all the time, but today it was I was quite confident to keep the pace.
Cruel luck then for Rovanperä, but finally a win for the world champion. Despite his crash, Mäkinen held on to his lead in the championship. 10 points finally put Grönholm on the first page of the leaderboard. Round 10 and one of the most dramatic settings of the year, New Zealand. This year the rally was held in the Antipodean spring. That meant drier conditions and the potential for tactics on the gravel. Based around the North Island city of Auckland, there were 24 special stages stretching over nearly 400 kilometres. Rolling up to the line first, Tommi Mäkinen, concern on his face exactly how much time would he lose by having so much slippery gravel under his wheels. 41 seconds he lost on the first stage as a sign of a potentially disastrous day for the Finn. Colin McRae was a second a kilometre faster than Mäkinen. Except for now, speed was not crucial. None of the championship contenders wanted to end the day too high up the order. For a man needing to win here to stay in the title fight, Richard Burns just had to drive with patience and not power on day 1. In fact, a series of problems dropped him to 9th without any need for tactics. Grönholm's car was twitchy all day, but the Finn was still fastest. But for how long? Then came the tactics, with everyone else slowing. Ericsson made history and opened the lead for Hyundai. At the end of the last stage, Peugeot hold up a board to tell Grönholm how much to slow down.
Excuse me, hey, I got time 11:17, is that correct?
But inside the car, number 1, Grönholm and Timo Rautiainen are not confident that the time is right.
Ei vittu! Ei me voida. Anna mennä. Ei me voida.
With no answer, Rautiainen tells Grönholm to cross the line. But Grönholm is furious.
You show 11:17. You.
The game of tactics has cost Grönholm dearly. He's dropped only to second place.
Marcus, a big mistake by the team. What happened?
You never have to say anything bad about the team, but they did a wrong calculation. And I realized that too late, and Timo was also, we couldn't do anything more because we were on the yellow and red sign, so it was too late.
Day 2, and pleased to be leading, if not to be the first man on the road, Kenneth Eriksson and his co-driver, Stefan Parmander. Damage limitation 2 for Grönholm. He lost a second a kilometre over the 59 kilometres of the first stage. A win and the championship almost certainly out of the window. A spin at the end of day one had given Francois Delacour a prime chance to shoot up the leaderboard. But then it all went wrong. Riding inside the Ford, you can see Delacour lose the back end, fail to catch the pendulum swing, and wait for the scenery to come in the window. Burns set fastest times on all 4 stages and started to pull away from McRae, the aim to open a gap of at least half a minute to save having to deliberately drop back for day 3. But his pace came with risks, big risks. But today, luck was on his side.
100. Flat left to flat left, minus cut, and left max, ditch out. Was lucky.
It was a bit.
This time it was McRae who made a mistake, hitting a concrete post on stage 15. The time lost, though, was minimal. McRae's accident allowed Harry Rovanperä to close within 23 seconds of the Scot. The final stage of the day, and over a crest comes Australian Cody Crocker in a Subaru. Getting out of shape, he flips his car into a frightening series of barrel rolls. But he and co-driver Greg Folletta seemed okay. They were taken to hospital for a checkup.
Richard, a very simple task for you this morning. It's flat out all the way.
Yeah, it is. Colin is like 42 seconds behind, so it's, I think, enough of a margin. But obviously we still have to make sure that we're pushing fairly hard because we have the problem of cleaning the road. But I think it's enough.
Day 3, and Burns was on the eve of his first victory in 10 months. But all that gravel spewing from under the wheels was not a good sign. He was being slowed by the stuff. The clean line to the left, McRae from the right, the Scots' only chance to keep in Burns' wheel tracks. Inch perfect, the Focus following the Impreza to precision. The result, McRae was 17 seconds faster than Burns. Rovanperä didn't feel at home on these stages. He dropped 20 seconds. But worse, he'd fallen to 4th behind Carlos Sainz.
Para uno. Izquierda campo contra Rediera Mucci. Atención, salida.
And Rovanperä was now under threat from his team leader. But this spin lost Marcus Grönholm valuable time in the attack on 4th place. On stage 19, Burns lost another 4 seconds to McRae. Mathematically, he was in trouble. McRae's charge ended when he'd lost control on the second-to-last stage. For 35 agonizing seconds, he fought to reignite the engine. On the 4th go, it fired up, barely hanging on to 2nd place.
We had a spin and the car wouldn't restart. Don't know why.
Richard had a puncture in there as well.
It doesn't really matter now.
McRae had dropped back, but as they say, it ain't over till it's over. Burns knew as much and needed to take no more risks. Sainz, though, was feeling the pressure. He had McRae to catch and 2 Peugeots to fight off. He didn't know which way to look, literally. This off cost him almost 10 seconds. Hopes of 2nd place were now fears of 5th. For 2 days, Burns had fought off McRae. The Battle of Britain had finally gone his way.
Richard, it's been a long time coming, but how does victory feel?
Feels very, very sweet. It's been a very hard day today. We knew we'd be cleaning the road for everybody else, so we had to just bite the bullet, get on with it, and we knew we were going to lose some time. But in the end, it was Colin that made a mistake and allowed us a bit of breathing space, so I could back off in the last stage.
Burns the winner then, but a jump start penalty dropped Grunholm to fourth. In the Drivers' Championship, McRae joins Mäkinen on 40 points, but well and truly back in the title fight is Burns. It's been 6 months since the last tarmac rally, but now we were back on the black stuff in the Italian Riviera. The Sanremo rally is a helter-skelter ride of fast roads, tight hairpins, precipitous drops and fanatical fans. The rally's based around the seaside towns of Sanremo and Imperia, and it consists of 20 stages covering almost 400 kilometres. As championship leader, Colin McRae was first off the mark, but before the rally, McRae had feared the competitiveness of his Focus. With a long wheelbase and a heavy front end, it doesn't turn in as well as the shorter cars. This was the moment of truth for Tommi Mäkinen, the first stage for his new Mitsubishi World Rally car. But he was quickly in trouble with his transmission. He lost over half a minute in 3 stages. Next up, Richard Burns, like McRae, on Pirellis, not a tyre that filled its users with a lot of confidence, so Burns took very few risks.
The fast left plus long 40, means my point is the K lane, plus long 20 right.
But without warning, 4 kilometres into the rally, the Subaru flicked off the road and into the trees.
What happened?
Burns looked more shaken by the lack of explanation than by the crash itself. But if the regulars were in trouble, the tarmac experts quickly revelled in their love of the mountain roads. 2000 winner Gilles Panizzi was fastest, despite not being happy with the handling of his Peugeot. Citroën were back